The room went silent the moment Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, known to millions as Oka, finished speaking. Sweat beaded on her brow, her usual commanding voice faltered. Then, in front of a press pool and a tense crowd, she collapsed, and not just physically, but emotionally, under the weight of her career's worst moment yet, losing the seat she had fought tooth and nail to keep. The world watched. The blame flashed almost immediately. She pointed to John Kennedy, a longtime political rival, accusing him of maneuvering behind the scenes to seize her ground. And that's when everything changed. From the start, X's journey was a story of underdogs and impossibilities. Born in the Bronx, raised by a working-class family, she rose through grassroots activism to become a symbol of hope for many. But with every step upward came scrutiny and the kind of political pressure few outsiders anticipate. John Kennedy, a seasoned figure, represented everything the establishment expects: patience, connections, quiet maneuvering. He watched from the sidelines as she seized the limelight, and then, when she stumbled, he stepped in. The election night was brutal. X's campaign team had warned of shifting winds of voter fatigue, internal fractures, financial strain, but none of that prepared her for the moment she started to falter in public. The collapse happened after a heated debate, when she accused Kennedy of orchestrating a campaign against her district, planting dissent, courting disillusioned supporters. She called him out by name, in front of cameras, blaming him for the loss of her seat. The cameras darkened as she stumbled, then rose again, her face flushed, voice cracking. It's tempting to write that scene off as a dramatic collapse, but in fact, it was the culmination of months of sleepless nights, of questioning whether her voice really mattered anymore. Her supporters saw it as a betrayal of expectations, the vibrant champion of change reduced to someone staggering. Her critics saw it as the predictable end of a media-constructed hero. Kennedy watched, calculated, and then he acted quietly, firmly. He didn't celebrate publicly. He simply let the momentum shift. In the days that followed, X withdrew from the spotlight. She retreated to reflect. The press speculated, was this the end of her political career? Would she become another cautionary tale of activism gone too far, ambition burning out? But she did not disappear. Behind closed doors, she met with mentors, community leaders, campaign veterans. She listened. She learned. And yes, as she confronted the realization that she had lost not only a seat, but touch with why she started in the first place. Then came the unexpected turn. Kennedy, having quietly assumed influence in those overlapping districts, publicly extended an olive branch, something no one saw coming. He invited her to a joint community event to address local economic concerns, the very issues she had campaigned on. The message: politics need not be total warfare, sometimes it can be collaboration. X accepted. The moment was electric. Two figures who had been locked in battle publicly talking about shared goals, shared constituents, shared responsibility. It marked the beginning of X's transformation from a relentless challenger into a coalition builder. In that town hall, X's voice cracked again, and not out of weakness this time, but emotion. She apologized to her supporters for losing sight of them, promised to rebuild trust, to show up in ways she hadn't. Kennedy nodded, acknowledging his earlier strategies but committing now to ensuring her community wasn't left out. The vibe shifted from blame to action, from collapse to comeback. Together, they launched a new initiative, after-school programs and job training partnerships in the area of her former district. X, once seen as a national figure too big to touch neighborhood matters, was again on the front line, as of this time with humility, listening to elders, shaking hands with young people, staying past the spotlight. Kennedy leveraged his influence to bring local funding, cutting through red tape. And here's where the inspiring message comes: failure is not the end. The moment when you blame someone else, when you collapse, it can actually be the hinge on which transformation swings. X's story could have ended in embarrassment, retreat, or irrelevance. Instead, she used the fall to reflect, recalibrate, and rebuild. Kennedy's role, once adversarial, is shifted into a teacher's, a facilitator's, a partner's. What does this teach us? First, pride can blind. When you're winning, you often forget why. Second, when you're losing, pointing fingers keeps you stuck. Growth begins when you look inward, accept responsibility even when others played a part. Third, Collaboration isn't weakness, it's strength. The greatest impact often comes when old foes recognize shared purpose. In the final frame of the story, we don't see AOC at a podium shouting war cries. We see her kneeling at a community center, tying shoelaces of a young trainee. We see Kennedy standing beside her, quietly handing out worksheets. They make her regret the collapse in the way one regrets ignoring the little things that matter, not by retribution but by rebuilding. At the close of this chapter, the seat may be lost but something much bigger is found: trust, service, humility, and the knowledge that the fight isn't just about winning elections, it's about winning lives. And in that, AOC and Kennedy remind us, every setback holds the seed of a comeback if we are willing to plant it.